Hey everybody, it's Brian. Thank you for coming to my channel. Thank you to my subscribers, my new subscribers, and my old pals who've been with me from the beginning. This is where I talk about my passions of the Beatles, movies, music, musical theater. I make videos when I can, when my children allow me. Like right now, the both of them are at school. If you like what you see, if you're roaming around, please click that subscribe button. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And I'm going to do another review of a post-Beatles album. I decided I'm going to do the last Wings album, Back to the Egg. I did the first one, Wings Wildlife. Now we have the final one, which came out in '79, I believe, Back to the Egg, with the final Wings lineup of Paul, and of course his wife, and of course the longtime partner of Denny Laine, the one who was with Wings to the End, and newcomers Lawrence Juber and Steve Holley. What do I think of this album? I have no problem with Back to the Egg. It was just as trashed as Wildlife was when it came out, and unfairly trashed, in my opinion. It's an album that Paul still sort of apologizes for, too. This and Press to Play. On this album, I think the whole total feel of the album, it works. It's got the appearance of a concept album, even though it technically isn't. As I said on Wings Wildlife, Paul took the lessons that he learned with Sgt. Pepper, the White Album, Abbey Road, things that he learned in the Beatles days of how to construct an album. Having some segues, maybe some interludes, some reprises, and boom, you have an album that feels like it's complete. That's a compliment, by the way. This album contains two of the Rockestra tracks. Paul organized a large group of musicians, and I'm going to have to name some of them here. John Bonham on drums, Dave Gilmour on guitar, Pete Townsend on guitar, Hank Marvin on guitar. Two tracks around your Rockestra theme, and So Glad to See You Here. We're done with that expanded lineup. And if you see video for that, there is a video of the complete Rockestra sessions. If I find it on YouTube, I'll link to it in the description here. You begin the album with a little overture reception. It's a nice new groove with radio interference happening, as well as a piece of a later song called The Broadcast that you'll hear. Then you get into Getting Closer, which is a nice rockin' tune. People talk about Paul and his lyrics sometimes, like Getting Closer is a prime example. Say you don't love him, my salamander. My salamander. What is that? I don't care. That doesn't bother me because Bob Dylan did nonsense lyrics. Then we get into a motif, something that is reprised later, a nice little interlude with We Open Tonight. Another fast rocker, definitely Paul's attempt at doing a punk song with Spin It On. The last of Denny Laine's songs and leads and Wings with Again and Again and Again. Then you get into another hard rocker with Old Siam Sir. Another song I love. I know critics trash it, and again they trash the lyrics. I don't care, because whatever he is singing, he sings the hell out of it. I had the lyrics at one point, but there's no lyric sheet in this one. So, but that's fine because it matches with the music, and it's this really hard rock tune. Now, we could get into a debate on who rocked harder during the post-Beatles career. Is it John or Paul? As much as I love John, John was more serious in his solo career. I have a message, and I want to get my message out. Paul, I'm sorry, out of all the Beatles, and even just between he and John, he rocked harder during the solo career. You want to criticize the silly love songs and all this stuff, I don't care. Get Wings Over America, which I talked about early. Wings Over America rocks. This album, especially Old Siam Sir, it really rocks. Then side one closes out with a nice sort of dance. I'd call it a disco ballad. Actually, I don't even want to use the term disco. It's a nice funk tune with Arrow Through Me. I already talked about side two opening with orchestra theme. It's it's a lick, basically, is what it is. But with hearing everybody and their mom do it, oh man, it's killer. Followed by another sort of a new wave rocker that I love, To You. I love that song. Maybe then you have these two medleys back to back. After the Ball, Million Miles, Winter Rose, and Love Awake. Some people criticize those tunes. Oh, and as usual on a McCartney album, it goes sort of lags in the middle. I don't think they do. I like how you go from After the Ball into this kind of a gospel tune, which is just Paul and harmonium. Then you get to the broadcast, getting back to the theme of somebody switching through radio dials to find something. Then you get to the final orchestra track, So Glad to See You Here, which ties it back to We're Open Tonight. Nice reprise there at the end. Getting a nice Sgt. Pepper-esque type vibe completes the album. But something Paul does on some of his albums that I love, doesn't do it all the time, but he does try to do it. You have a big grandiose ending with So Glad to See You Here featuring the reprise of We're Open Tonight, the interlude. But then he gets... Okay, that was overblown. Now we're going to get into a nice little slow song, a nice slow 1940-esque big band ballad, Baby's Request, which I love that song too. People criticize Paul for writing those type of songs, going back to When I'm 64. And I'm just going to say this right now. Paul doing When I'm 64, Honey Pie, Maxwell's Silver Hammer, You Gave Me the Answer, Baby's Request, all of those tunes. People criticize, oh, it's Paul doing old age granny music, but slightly off track here. When Ray Davies, you can imagine Ray Davies of the Kings doing a Maxwell's Silver Hammer. And Ray Davies would be praised for it. How many songs did Freddie Mercury and Brian May and the guys in Queen do? They did a bunch of British vaudeville music hall style tunes. Seaside Rendezvous, Lazy on a Sunday Afternoon. So many on the Queen's albums. Nobody criticizes those tunes, but when Paul does these tunes, it's Paul and his granny music. Come on. You can't praise somebody else for doing the same thing and criticize somebody else doing the exact same thing. And I see this from multiple critics, actually. The final Wings album, Back to the Egg, I love it. I think it's, dare I say the word? A masterpiece. I really do. Paul, do not apologize for this album. I want this in the McCartney collection. I want some of the other songs that were deleted from the album. Get this out in your McCartney Archive collection series again. Give me a box set with all of the bonuses, because I love this album. Back to the Egg. Paul McCartney and Wings, or Wings, because it's only credited as Wings. It's Macca, it's good Macca music. It's Macca at his finest, in my humble opinion. So that's it for this installment. And again, leave me a comment below if there's anything you want me to talk about. Please let me know. I tend to do some unedited videos, as a lot of my longtime viewers know. And again, I make my videos when I can, when the kids allow me. As always, keep physical music alive. When you buy a CD or a vinyl record, it is yours for life. And until we meet again.